Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Yes. We will be having a Ask Egberto this weekend on Saturday at 11 a.m. Tom C. says, finally able to make it here on time. Ask Egberto this coming Saturday? Si, senor. We are going to have an Ask Egberto this Saturday as well. Anyhow, welcome aboard, Tom C. Welcome aboard, E2247. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. Yes, Melanie, we will be there on Saturday. E2247, thank you so kindly for putting those plugs in for me. Great to have you do that. Para ver. We also have Paul Fleming is in the house. How are you doing, my brother from Atlanta? Welcome aboard. And of course, we have Michael Rodnan, AVQ. How are you doing today, my friend? E2247. He replies to E2247, feeling amazed I managed to get back home on time. I'm walking half speed after all, but that speed is going to come back, my brother. That speed's going to come back. If I missed you, please go ahead and put your stuff in the chat so that I can tell you hello. You know I like to keep abreast of all my peeps. I want to make sure all my peeps are doing just fine. Anyhow, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. Vamos a tener un buen programa para todos esta tarde. This afternoon is going to be a great program. Anyway, you know, it's amazing because in Panama, the church that I went to, this is how the preacher used to do it. Bienvenidos, welcome. ¿Cómo están todos? How is everybody doing? ¿Sabes lo que está pasando ahora? You know what's happening now? Estamos aquí para orar a Dios. We are here to worship God. And he would do that in two languages, one sentence after the other, right up until the end of the program. I mean, the end of the sermon, that is, you know. And you know, everybody, I guess, just pick out the language that they understand, right? And that's what it goes. Melakilin says, yes, thank you. It's really easy, really cold here, but now things are getting better. It's cold here too. Anyhow, let's see what we're going to talk about today. We have three subjects that I've already selected. What's that? Media. I see. Anyhow. We have a great program for you today. As you know, Ilhan Omar was removed today from the House, the Affairs Committee removed, but Stephanie Rule on Jordan Klepper. Oh yeah, that's the title of the show. I just saw something that says Ilhan Omar was removed, and I'm like, what? Did they remove my text? It is the title of the show, and it just automatically went off. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? Anyhow, Ilhan Omar was removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Of course, it was in retaliation for MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, being removed for what she's done, for threatening and being all the bad things that she is, as well as Kosar for what Kosar did. You know, it's sort of a retaliation by Kevin McCarthy. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It will only last about 2 years, because in 2 years, the House will be reverting back to the people who most have the best interests of the American people at hand. And we know who doesn't have the best interests of the American people at hand, so they'll lose the House as Americans see that they are not into them. They're not into the American people. They're not into the American people. And that may sound partisan. Unfortunately, it's not. Both Democrats and Republicans are saying the same thing. All right, Lee Grant says, glad to see Omar gone. This is payback politics. In 2019, Representative Steve King was removed from committee assignments because he dared speak of Western civilization. You have to wonder about Omar's mindset that allows her to dismiss 9/11 terrorism as some people did some things, or malign Jews with her infamous "it's all about the Benjamins." She gets to represent the constituents who elected her, but we best keep her at arm's length away from foreign policy. Lee Grant, you are completely wrong, my friend. You're also wrong about this woman's heart. You're wrong. You're also, by the way, I know her personally, right? Okay, you've seen me interviewed her. I've stayed and spoken to her off camera as well. You guys haven't a clue. I have a clue of Steve King, because Steve King makes it clear who he is and what he thinks about others. And this thing about Western culture is a composite of all cultures they have adapted as they conquered during this era where they were the conquerors. Of course, Western culture wasn't always the culture of the conqueror. There were other conquerors at other times, right? So in these times, the Western culture is the conquering culture, and it is comprised of the intellect of all other cultures. Please understand that and don't believe the white supremacy BS. All cultures interact with other cultures. All cultures have their own discoveries and they put it together. I call multiculturalism engineering. Engineers take what scientists of every stripe do, okay, and then put it together to make something viable for everybody. Lee Grant said, I said Western civilization, not culture. I inherently, Lee, please don't, Lee, come on, you've always been straightforward. When one speaks about Western civilization, they're speaking about Western culture. That's what the civilization is all about, brother. Come on, man. You're better than that, brother. Come on. Come on. All right. And notice how I address Brother Grant. He is my brother. I love my brother. In this case, he's wrong. Ledo all the same, but when they come out here and say certain things, they're simply wrong. Okay? Just wrong. We are all humans. They're wrong. Okay. Let's continue here. Para ver. Bree says Western culture, also known as Western civilization, Occidental culture, or Western society, is the heritage of societal norms, ethical values, traditional customs, belief systems, political system, artifacts, and technologies of the Western world. There you go. See, my beautiful Bridge MCP could find that immediately. That's what's great when you have people from all strata in the same house, our chat, all learning, working, teaching together. All right, I tell you what, let's go ahead and start with the Ilhan. What time is it? It's 11. Let's go ahead and start on the Ilhan Omar video, and then we'll move on from there. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side. Ilhan Omar, the representative from Minnesota, was just voted off the Foreign Affairs Committee on a party line vote. Of course, she is one of the most eligible people for that committee, given her background as a Somali refugee, and not to speak about her intellectual apt. But of course, in a Congress that's dominated by charlatanes, it is expected that this was going to happen, because they took off the violent ones. When Democrats were in charge, they took off the violent ones like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others from the committees after they threatened the lives of other Congress people. But anyhow, Omar was not taking it for granted. Omar was not going to go down begging. Omar was not going to say, please keep me on. I am so sorry for everything I've ever done. She didn't do that. She was defiant in her speech because defiancy is what was necessary at this time. Take a listen to what she had to say, and then we'll take it on the other side.
There is this idea that you are a suspect if you are an immigrant, or if you are from certain parts of the world, or a certain skin tone, or a Muslim. It is no accident that members of the Republican Party accused the first Black president, Barack Obama, of being a secret Muslim. It is no accident that former President Donald Trump led a birther movement that falsely claimed he was born in Kenya. Because to them, falsely labeling the first and only president of the United States of America a Muslim and African immigrant somehow made him less American. Well, I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted? Is anyone surprised that I am somehow deemed unworthy to speak about American foreign policy? Or that they see me as a powerful voice that needs to be silenced? Frankly, it is expected, because when you push power, power pushes back. Representation matters. Continuing to expand our ideas of who is American and who can partake in the American experiment is a good thing. I am an American who was sent here, by her constituents to represent them in Congress, a refugee who survived the horrors of a civil war, someone who spent her childhood in a refugee camp, someone who knows what it means to have a shot at a better life here in the United States, and someone who believes in the American dream and the American possibility and the promise and the ability to participate in the democratic process. That is what this debate is about. There is an idea out there that I do not have objective decision making because of who I am, where I come from, and my perspective. But I reject that. We say there is nothing objective about policy making. We all inject our perspective, our point of views, our lived experiences, and the voices of our constituents. That's what democracy is about. So what is the work of the Foreign Affairs Committee? It is not to co-sign the stated foreign policy of whatever administration is in power. It's about oversight. It's to critique and to advocate for a better path forward. But most importantly, it is to make the myth that American foreign policy is intrinsically moral a reality. So I will continue to speak up because representation matters. I will continue to speak up for little kids who wonder who's speaking up for them. I will continue to speak up for families around the world who are seeking justice, whether they are displaced in refugee camps or they are hiding under their beds somewhere like I was, waiting for the bullets to stop. Because this child, survivor of war, would have wanted that. The 9-year-old me would be disappointed if I didn't talk about the victims of conflict, those that are experiencing unjust wars, atrocities, ethnic cleansing, occupation, or displacement like I did. They are looking to the international community and the United States, asking for help. They look to us because the international community and the United States profess the values of protecting human rights and upholding international law. So we owe it to them not to make this a myth, but a reality I didn't come to Congress to be silent. I came to Congress to be their voice. And my leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been. So take your vote or not. I am here to stay, and I am here to be a voice against harms around the world and advocate for a better world.
Well, as it turns out, yes, the Republicans voted her off, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. They've increased her voice. They've made it that around the world, this woman will be taken seriously as someone who went against the terrorists that took her off. And yes, I call them terrorists. These people who are voting her off, many of them are either wimps because they can't go against MAGA, or they themselves are terrorists who attempted to overthrow this country. Let's remember that. The people who voted her off attempted to overthrow this country. It is so important that we get that. The people who voted her off were allied with the terrorists who tried to overthrow the United States government of America. So therefore, they have no credibility, they have no honor, they have no respect, and should have none from any of us. So anyhow, let's see what you guys are saying about this so far. Western society gave, welcome aboard Greg James Milt, welcome aboard Mike Cisak, welcome aboard E2247, although I think I saluted you already. Mike Cisak says Omar should be in jail for fraud. Really? What kind of fraud? Are you going to bring up that stuff about she married her brother? Oh my God. Do you think if that were true, all of that wouldn't be taken care of already? Come on, guys. Grow up, my dear brother. Grow up. Greg James says, Western society gave the world free markets, democracy, and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let's not forget it. Are you kidding me? It's just recently that Western society adopted all these great things, right? Let's forget about Greece for a little bit, because Greece has a lot, remember there's a lot of African that kind of cross over to Greece and all that good stuff. But anyhow, that's not true at all. There are a lot of civilizations that have all kinds of different democracies, including some types of democracies that aren't patriarchal like ours has been. Because remember, we have a very, very patriarchal democracy. We can talk about democracy all we want, but it's a democracy just for some. Let's not forget that. Don't believe your hype. The problem is when you believe your hype, only you believe it. The rest of the intelligent world knows the reality, and it doesn't play well with them. It doesn't play well when you come, we created free markets. You didn't create a darn thing. You created a market that stole the resources of other countries. Come on, man. Free markets? You mean the market that says we go ahead and pilfer the natural resources around the world? No, we have been becoming a good system, because good people are starting to get elected over the patriarchs that really only had their interests at hand, Brother Greg James. If you want to discuss this mano a mano, we can. But you're fooling yourself if you believe that, it's funny, because when you have people that do the glory, glory, hallelujah on their particular countries, right? The rest of the world, who know their country is flawed, but also America is flawed, they sit down and says, what the hell is he talking about? How dare you talk about democracy and freedom when you had slavery and you murdered people? How dare you talk about democracy and freedom when you annihilated the indigenous and took all the land? What democracy, freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness you're talking about when you signed treaties, and then when you found gold or oil or whatever, you blew the treaties away? Come on, you're fooling yourself, not anybody else. Yourself. You can love America and still understand its flaws. You can love America because I love America. This is my home. But I am not going to forget the flaws. People laugh at you when you talk about how much freedom you look for when just yesterday somebody got beaten down to death. When was the last time that happened in the UK? When was the last time that happened in Panama? When was the last time that happened in Costa Rica? Come on, grow up, folks. We all countries have flaws, and it's made up of its component people and those who want to remain in power. And the United States, power has been denied from many for all too long. And if you see what power does, look at what just happened to Ilhan Omar. Paul Fleming says all of the American lands are indigenous land. True. And the people who cherish freedom took the owners of this land's freedom away, threw them onto reservations, killed those who wouldn't abide, and then said, okay, now we have a free country. Do you not see the hypocrisy? Madre mia carajo. Daniel Ledo says, Hunter has now admitted it is his laptop. I always knew it was his laptop. What you talking about admitted? Still trust your trusted sources? Our trusted source? Give me the link that says from a trusted source that the laptop did not belong to Hunter Biden. Find that link. Show me the link. Show me the news story that says the laptop is not Hunter Biden. I don't care about the Hunter Biden story because Hunter Biden is not in power. You seem to be obsessed with it. Go for it. ABQ says, Greg James, democracy predates Western society. That's why I love to have the plethora of people in my chat, because they know the truth. E2247 says, really pissed about Omar is treated by white wing, so-called right wing, including a few folks here at PDR. Look, the folks here at PDR who have all these things to say about Omar, I want them to stay here because they'll learn. But Omar, they've created it's a concerted effort, as AOC said, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, it's an outright attack on you-know-whom. Continuing. Para ver, Craig, Mike Cisak says, Omar, oh, look at me, the victim. So says, she don't call herself a victim. She came out swinging. I'm sorry, that's not what she wanted to do. She doesn't want to call herself a victim. Second one, Lee Grant says, nobody's giving it back, though. Giving what back? I know they're not giving it back. Of course not. Let's see what else. Greg James, heck, the founding fathers even excluded non-land owning men from, and none specify non-land owning white men. So much for the equal. Exactly, the founders, that's what they did. But as usual, we always can find a lot of people who get screwed by the system defend the system. What kind of syndrome is it called again? Come on, folks, help me out with the syndrome that it's called. You're kidnapped and you fall for your kidnappers. Para ver. You know what syndrome I mean. I'll read it down below because somebody's going to put it in there real quickly. All right, let's see. Michael Rodney-Thompson, I'd criticize Israel every time their army shoots and kills non-combatants. And you do that, and every time you do that, oh, you're anti-Semitic. But don't be scared to simply tell the truth. That's all you're responsible for, telling the truth. All right, Lee Grant says, I gotta say, as a speech, it's pretty good. She got a bit authoritarian at the end. She got authoritarian because she told the truth. She's well respected around the world. She has power around the world. When she goes to Africa, whatever country she goes to Africa, wherever she lands in Africa, she is a rising star. And she can go ahead and meet with any head of state on the continent of Africa at her will. Again, we don't see when she travels on standard media. Go to YouTube and just put travel Ilhan Omar Africa and see the kind of respect that she does have in Africa. She's not saying anything that isn't already known, okay? So, Lee Grant, she's cool. All right, let's see. You forget that what she was talking about was the fact that the entire Muslim community was being persecuted and discriminated against because a very few radicals had committed a horrible act against everyone, and she only pointed that out. The unfair discrimination and occupation the Israel government is doing to the Palestinian people, stealing land, stealing entire communities, and of course, the Benjamin's comment was a reference to the fact that Israel spread millions around to try to get and keep preferential treatment. You know, and the problem is that she didn't say Israel puts money to buy good press. She said the Benjamins, and the connotation with the Benjamins was the trope. And I get it because of the Benjamin and the trope, but her intent was never an anti-Semitic intent. For those who really want the truth, right? But there are some who don't want the truth at all, and let them be. Mike Cisak says, I've seen documentation people found on Omar that showed she married her brother to say it. Okay, if that's the case, don't you think she would be out of office by now after serving more than 2 terms? Come on, guys, grow up. Tom C says, criticize Israel and you're anti-Semitic. Criticize America and you're anti-American. Criticize the right-wing insurrectionists and you're an anti-patriot. Freedom of speech is our most important right. True. And Lee Grant says, hail to Omar. I know you're being funny, Lee. Daniel Ledo says, whoa, she holds herself in high regard. She is going to save the world. She does hold herself in high regard. I hold her in high regard, and sure don't hold Kevin McCarthy or any of those Republicans who voted against her in high regard. I look at them as either terrorists or terrorist sympathizers or wimps. One of the three, not anyone in the middle. By all of them coming out and voting against her, not using their own mind, it tells me who they are. Good. Paul Fleming says, it looks like you've revealed how the crazies got control by simply playing this video. They have fully bought into the nonsense through on by Fox. True. Breach says, I would say to those on the right, if you think this is a good thing, I feel very bad for you, as I don't see you complaining and whooping and hollering about the extreme right-wing nuts. They don't. Culiana Pacificana. I love that name. Aloha from Oahu. Hola, Culiana Pacificana. I know it's not Spanish that you speak, but I just love to intonate that name in Spanish. Culiana Pacificana. I love your name. I love your name. I love your name. It's like peaceful, cool. Great. All right. Let's see. Bridge MCP, she is extreme left-wing and more middle is needed. She is not extreme left. Please tell me a policy. I'll tell you what, let's go to this. Give me a policy from Ilhan Omar that you think is extreme. All right? Eric, you said she's extreme. She's not in the middle. I want you to give me one policy from Ilhan Omar that you think is extreme. Just one. Just one policy. Robert Davenport is in the house. Welcome, my dear brother Davenport. How are you doing? Michael Rodriguez Egberto, let me criticize Israel a bit. Mind putting this on the screen? Are you going to get me in trouble now? Are you going to get me in trouble? All right, let's go ahead, because that's an important number there, brother Ruddin. All right, the impact of the conflict on children, at least 2,389 Palestinian children and 139 children have been killed by someone from other side since 2000. I've actually spoken about this. You know, I actually said this in a conference with a whole lot of my Jewish brothers and sisters, and I said, it's easy to just come and say Palestinian bad, and then you say, let's start looking at the people who died, the death numbers. You compare them, it's orders of magnitude larger on the Palestinian side. Let's look at destruction of infrastructure. They decimate the Palestinian equipment or buildings, including civilian buildings. In Israel, untouched. I would like people to really start looking at things the way they should look at it, in an honest, unbiased manner. And after you look at stuff in an honest, unbiased manner, come back. Look, every country has a right to exist. Everybody has the right to liberty and freedom. Okay? It's so important. And every time somebody speaks against the Israeli government, does not make them anti-Semitic at all. All right, continuing, we've got here Julie Henderson says hello to all. Let's see what else we got here. We got Bridge MCP says she's not extreme at all. Did she post pictures with a gun against other members of Congress? That's extreme. Did she agree with the January 6th SMH? That is extreme. Egberto, you got to remember nationalism is just politics for basic people. All right, Rednan. All right. What else have we got here before we get to the next video? We're coming. Next video coming up. Let's see what we got here. Tom said something that Bridge agreed to, but I don't know what it is. Anyhow, we got Eric Hayes speaking fees of under $100. Oh, that's a lot cheaper than most politicians who get tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Shoot, Hillary Clinton got like a $250,000 to speak to the bankers. All right. Bridge MCP says, was waiting for Hunter Hillary Marxist remarks by one, and you got them. Robert Davenport says, in the USA, we are in search of a more perfect union because we know we can do better. Not perfect, never been, but hopefully we keep working on doing better day by day. Exactamente, hermano mío. Stockholm syndromes. Thank you. I have to remember it is that from that country. Stockholm syndrome. See, look at all these people telling me, Egberto, dummy Egberto, Stockholm syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, buddy. And even Eileen Proctor. Hey, my dear sister, Eileen Proctor. How are you doing, my dear? Love to see you here. All right, guys. Everybody threw in. I was the only one who forgot it. Brain freeze, brain freeze, brain freeze. All right, continuing here. Let's see what we got. Bri says, for many years, Ilhan Omar has been targeted by baseless rumors that she married her brother to help her emigrate to the United States. Rumors the U.S. representative has repeatedly denied. The U.S. representative for Minnesota and refugee has been a frequent target of unfounded allegations about her family. Her personal life has become the talk on social media after Republican Representative Lauren Boebert made a series of inflammatory comments about her during a debate on Wednesday, November 17. I feel for Boebert, an unqualified face. All right, Stockholm Syndrome is a proposed condition in which hostages develop a psychological bond to their captors. And that's what happened to the wimp Republicans who have been psychologically bonded to MAGA. Danielle says, Omar's power is not hers, it is America. Without the power of the position she holds, the rest of the world would not give two shits about her. You know what? You're right, Daniel. You are absolutely right. And that is why it was so silly, Brother Ledo, to throw her off a committee on false premises. You see, you get it, Daniel. You're a smart dude, Daniel Ledo. Why don't you act it out in every aspect of your speech? That was a very smart statement. The power of America that put her in the Congress shows that that one can get an elevation of power in this country. The common person from Somalia comes to the United States, work hard, study hard, and becomes an activist and becomes a powerful woman. She become a U.S. rep. And in becoming a U.S. rep, all the power that says America is a great country is instantiated in her. And with that, she can connect with other African countries. The symbiotic relationship with being African, being Somali, and American creates that bond, that unity, that glue that we as American citizens, not of Somalia, not of Eastern Africa, could make great use of. But we play silly, childish politics, and we get rid of an asset to a committee where her input is so powerful. Daniel, keep on the path of smart thinking. Daniel, I love it. I'm spending time with my right-wing brother because that was a breakthrough as far as I'm concerned. All right, Michael Rudnin says, Egberto, you missed the second part as I split them up. YouTube redirect. Part between the arrows. Though I am sure Greg James saw all of them. Democracy predates Western society. When our founding fathers wrote all men are created equal, they didn't include minorities, slaves, or women. Heck, the founding fathers even excluded non-land owning men from voting. So much for being equal. And thank you, Rudnin. I read the whole thing this time. I hadn't seen the split. All right, Bridge MCP says, I know for a fact southern states still have laws on the books to not having sex with sheep. Now, if they had to make a law and still on the books. Wow. All right, Daniel Edo spewing the white wing. All right, Daniel Edo says, Omar is crying, but elections have consequences and she will win again. June Litter, thank you for reminding me about Stockholm Syndrome. You said, I tell you I got the smartest people on the planet? Everybody knew it was Stockholm Syndrome. Except I couldn't remember it. I love you guys. All right, let's continue. Let's continue before I go to the other video. Gotta continue before the other video. Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. Hunter will bring down Dada. Well, I doubt that, but you can keep praying. You guys always have a new thing that's going to bring down Dada. So let's see if that is what's going to bring down Dada. Lee Grant says, Hamas does not think Israel should exist. Well, you know, and Israel doesn't think Palestine should exist. Come on. I think 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Okay. Eric Hayes says that the one, all right, I'm going to take the bait. She wants to defund the police. Of course, they don't know what defund the police means, right? Let me tell you, I am not going to say Egberto wants to defund the police because people will take that clip and use it to say, I want to get rid of police as we know it. False. What these people want to do, and that's where I said, you know, you guys got to be read. Police officers take care of disputes between a wife and a husband. They take care about a cat up in a tree. They take care of a speeding ticket. They take care of all these things that don't require a gun. In fact, if you go to Great Britain, the police officers in Great Britain do not carry guns. They understand what a peace officer should be. So we are saying the police should be relegated to parts of our society that needs to be handled with guns. Traffic tickets, call to homes with family disputes, etc. We don't need anybody with a gun. If we send out somebody without a gun who looks at the situation and says, this could be a danger, then you get somebody with a gun. And that would eliminate the killing of people of color that police officers find it very easy to do. So again, there's nothing extreme about Omar. Actually, what's extreme is that you all don't see, those of you who don't see, that folks like me, the police often present a clear and present danger. I don't call police officers if I can avoid it. If I can get away from a situation rather than calling a cop, you know, you would see a Karen all of the time. You wait right there, I'm going to call the police. She's very comfortable doing that. I would never be comfortable saying, I'm going to call the police on somebody. Because when that police comes, I don't know if he's going to first look at me as the suspect. And I am a business owner, an educated engineer, author, all these things I've done. And my biggest fear are still cops. Many of you don't have to live through that. I lived through that. And I've done all these things. So please, I've given a lot of speeches where I talk to people about empathy. About learning empathy, as learning to see through somebody else's eyes, as opposed to just jumping up and saying, that's not true because I haven't lived it. I learned to see things through gay eyes. I learned to see things through women's eyes. I've learned to see things through the eyes of kids. I've learned to see things through the eyes of just about every identity I've encountered so that I could best represent, so that I can best not offend. You should try it. All of us need to try that. Okay, para ver. The guts is nuts. Who's Ron? Welcome aboard, Ron. I don't know what that means, but I read it. Plenty of people come and work and get rich, but then you do extreme things and not good for whatever things. I still don't know what you're talking about extreme. I heard that Omar's dad was an unsuccessful Somali warlord, and if that's, I don't know if that's the case, but so what? Who is Kevin? This is from Davenport. Who is Kevin McCarthy? Well, what time is it? Oh, I gotta hurry. Who is Kevin McCarthy if he is not a congressman? How many European leaders will take time to listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene or Boebert? Mike Cisak says, Michael Running, it shouldn't be interesting to know that all that was on the Hunter laptop is real and what he and his dad are in danger of criminal charges. Really now? Let's see that materialize, okay? Palestine is what the country was called. Yes, the entire area was called Palestine. Israel was pretty much a people, right? In the wake of Tyree Nichols, I hear some leftist wackos calling for the abolition of police. No, for the abolition of police as we know it. I mean, for some people, police have proven to be a clear and present danger, as I explained before. Shiva Las Vegas, welcome aboard. Police are my backup assistants. All right, Shiva Las Vegas. Egberto, you are talking about red flag laws, confiscation for cause, specifically if someone is suspected of wife beating, terrorism, or otherwise a danger to their community or by family petition to get them out. I've seen conservatives often say, why didn't Muslims turn in those who were extremists? Well, such an idea isn't limited to one minority group. Exactly. Egberto, I must say this is really bringing out the nut part of some of the right, except part of Lee. I seriously am sick of it all. Look, let me tell you. Again, remember everything that I told you, Bridge. The last gasp, that's what the last gasp looks like, okay? Add that to everything I've ever told you, both in public and private. This is what the last gasp looks like. And the last gasp will only be successful if folks give in. All right? Remember this. This is what the last gasp looks like, and the last gasp will only be successful if we get so upset we give in to it. D. Rabbit White says, I am also reticent to call police even when I hear, for instance, a neighbor man screaming violently at his wife or his child. I fear the violent outcome rather than a de-escalation. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. Exactly. I'd rather go out there and say, hey, John, can I talk to you for a minute, when he's shouting at his wife? Hey, John, can I talk to you for a minute? And sometimes that would be enough. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me go ahead and play the tape with Stephanie Ruhle, my contention about free markets, okay? Joe Scarborough asked the right question. What are Americans to do when they know that they're struggling? They know that gas prices are cutting into their budget. They know all these things are happening. And then they turn around and they look at Wall Street. They look at the oil companies. They see that the oil stocks are going through the roof. They also see the profit margins of these oil companies are going through the roof, and they get no recompense. They don't get anything back for enriching the few. It's not like these guys did something special to have earned that money. It is an aberration within our economic system that allows folks to take advantage of bad things that happen to others and profit dearly on it, profit more so than anyone else. So what is there to do? I want you to listen to how Stephanie Ruhle handled it. Now, Stephanie is usually on point, but here I don't think she was sufficiently cognizant. Well, she's cognizant, sufficiently empathetic towards Americans and sufficiently assertive in what needs to be done to make this type of economy one that works for all. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
And how do we explain to working class Americans, middle class Americans who are struggling to be able to make it to work because of the price of gas going through the roof over the past year, who are struggling with home heating costs, who are having to make some really difficult decisions, have had to make really difficult decisions.
Just getting a home.
And then they see on TV, they see or when they pick up their phone to get news that Shell, that Exxon, that these oil companies, many of whom pay lower tax rates than they do, are making record profits, tens of billions of dollars.
There is nothing you can say to that American that's going to make them feel good, because there's no good news about it, right? We know where gas prices were, where oil prices were over the last year. We saw them soar with the war on Ukraine, and these companies have now got record profits. We're seeing Shell with a huge, much like Meta, share buyback program, which if they have money to spend, where are they spending it? They are now spending some money on drilling in the U.S., which is good. That'll make us more independent. But listen, what do we say about it? This is how free markets work. And we should just remind our audience, though, and I know nobody wants to hear it, at different times when prices are down, those companies don't make tons of money, and we're not necessarily talking about it. But this one stings. When you think about the rough year people just had, especially around gas prices and heating their homes, and you watch companies make money like this, it leaves a really bad taste in your mouth.
You heard what she said, but that's free markets. So if free markets as explained or as operated right now creates human pain throughout, except for a few, if it is something that stifles your innovation, if it is something that stifles your ability to build a nest for your future, if it's something that's preventing you from attaining all that you want to attain, shouldn't you try to improve on it? Shouldn't you try to pass policies that mitigate all the severe problems that quote unquote free market system has? Because if you can't use it, it ain't free, right? So let's be clear here. We have to stop making excuses for an economic system that harms. Because it's the only one we've ever known doesn't mean we can't modify it to one that actually works. All right. Hey, before I comment any further or read anything else, I have a favor for you guys, man. If you take a look at the screen, we've really growing this YouTube channel. Want to make sure to get some heavy duty exposure to the things that we do here. Very important material that we cover here. So if you are watching YouTube right now, please click on the subscribe button. I'm not asking, I would love for you to click the join button too, but let's click on the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel so that we are trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. It's going to take us a while, but we need 100,000 subscribers for certain types of market penetration. So if you will, please go ahead, and if you are watching us right now on YouTube, you can just go ahead and click the subscribe button. It costs you $0 to do that. And what you do is you help us increase our number. And please remember to hit the bell so that you get a notification whenever we go live. So click the subscribe first of all, and then if you have the wherewithal, also please click the bell so that you get a notification when we go live. And by doing so, you're not only helping us reach more, you're making sure that the engine that YouTube uses to promote your stuff go all through. So give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, all that good stuff. And if we get that, we can really start promoting all this necessary message so that we can inform folks above and beyond what mainstream media is doing, whether it is to misinform, disinform, or ill-inform. That's what we're hoping to do. So please go ahead, click that subscribe button if you are on right now, and we can actually it's Michael Rudnin's birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. Let's see. Won't be around tomorrow. 48th birthday. Well, if you're not going to be around tomorrow, let's all sing him happy birthday today. And here it goes. To Michael Rudnin's 48th birthday tomorrow. Do I get the guitar? Well, you know what? The guitar is too far and I want to get up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to El Señor Rodnin. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday, my brother. You hang in there, and thank you for being here. Those of you that are on YouTube, please click that subscribe button. And if you have the wherewithal, Lee Grant, keep free speech alive, and happy birthday, Michael. And thank you for that super chat, Lee Grant. Breach, I want to use Lee Grant as an example. We have these great discussions with Lee Grant. But Lee Grant knows that he's loved here. We disagree. We're going to convince him to hit the right path at some time. Maybe he'll convince us on certain issues as well. But this is what community is all about. Thank you for the super chat, brother Lee Grant. Let's see. Do I have time? Let me play the last video real quick because it's just about the right time, and then we'll close out the show. Jordan Klepper from Comedy Central. He goes around the country and he interviews all these MAGA folks and, see where a lot of their heads are, the more eccentric ones, etc. But it turns out that what Jordan is doing is more important than many people would realize. It goes back into the psyche of some of these MAGA folks, the one that have drunk the Kool-Aid. Remember, some are actors that, they're just jumping on a bandwagon to profit from. But these people that you see Jordan interviewing, these are victims. These are people whose minds could actually be manipulated in such a manner that it materially affects their lives. And while we laugh at this, and it's kind of funny and kooky, this hurts us all in the long run. Listen to this and tell me how this makes you feel.
Jordan talked to a few people, get this.
Not once.
I know that nobody watching will be shocked by this, who still believe Donald Trump is still president. Donald Trump. Good one. There's a bad one. I think Jordan, people watching, they just want to know one thing. Who's in charge of the Jewish space lasers? Which, the good army or the bad army? By the cape they wear.
Jordan, you also asked some of the people for their insights on the current war in Ukraine. That's like 3 million actors.
Seriously, can you imagine? That's like a bigger cost than like Heaven's Gate. Like, that's massive.
This is Avatar 3 money we're talking.
People hate the media. They hate us, Jordan. And so how is it that you carried off these interviews in such a friendly, open atmosphere with these people? They hate us.
Well, people hate the media, but they also love being on television. And so the idea of having your voice heard and or engaging with somebody who may have a different point of view with you and winning, that in and of itself is the brass ring. So I think that curiosity often outweighs any media bias that they're being told about.
I tell you how it makes me feel. When I see these women, these people that deep inside, they're not dumb. How could they fall for that? That is something we have to understand, because if they can fall, what happens if others get a tad of that Kool-Aid and it spreads? I mean, it's funny. You think it could never happen to you, but that it has happened to some should all make us concerned to try to right the ship before it kind of tilts too far. Absolutely so. Let's see. It is 58 right now. Okay. I guess it's time for my quick ask. I don't have much time to do my ask, so I'll just say, folks, please remember to, if you have the wherewithal to do so, please remember to support our program. You can support our program by going directly to PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Let me put that into the thing here. You can support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. We really need your support right now. One of the preferred support methods is our Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. We're going to be enhancing some features in Patreon. I got to install some more software to do that. Please consider becoming a Patreon. Also, you can support us by going to YouTube, clicking that join button on YouTube to become a paid YouTube member. Or you can just go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. We're still accepting support on Facebook. You can become a member on Facebook, politicsdoneright.com/Facebook, as well as shop at our store, politicsdoneright.com/store. But and of course get our books. I always forget about saying that. Get our books, because I promise you'd love our books when you read our books, even all the stories. And last but not least, you can find all the different support links in one place at politicsdoneright.com/support. My name is Egberto Willies. I want to thank you guys so kindly for being out here with me. Remember, this weekend is Ask Egberto Anything. You can sign up for free. Go to Ask Egberto Anything. Go to politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto to sign up, and you'll get the link to go ahead and come into our Zoom. We have a good time. It's non-confrontational. People from all sides. We talk to each other. We have good conversation. I tell you, we have good conversation. So please consider coming to Ask Egberto, because I promise you, you will enjoy our Zoom meetup. It's much fun. Anyhow, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.